Yeah, multiple colors. I like this. Look at this. Kind of blue mixed with purple on there. Welcome to Late to the Show. I'm your host, Prophet74. Today I bring in the ASUS RT-AX82U. Now, this one is great for those that are getting into the gaming zone. You want to be able to stream fast. You want to stream, game, and do everything else at the same time. Not only that, you have multiple family members that are accessing your systems, meaning Netflix, your refrigerator, your Google Talk. Pretty much everything has to go through a Wi-Fi. Now, where this is Wi-Fi 6 ready, compatible with a lot of new options that are coming out this market, especially if you have a fast fiber line. We're gonna go ahead and in depth take a look at the actual software behind it, how to set it up, and if it's even gaming worth, So a lot of these times we walk into the store, we don't understand exactly what's in front of us. We're gonna try to see if we could get a little bit understanding of what goes behind this. So let's go ahead and take a look. First of all the stuff that's included in the box, the power cord itself, if you guys can notice, this is the actual power cord. They give you a Cat 5 connection, just getting ready to go, up and running. This is perfectly for if you don't have an extra connection for your router. They include that in there. They give you instructions in different languages, how to set this up. Very basic, up and running and just plug and play. Of course, they give you instructions. And not only that, a great option is that if you have the app, you could actually remote this from your app too. Now, in order to do that, they give you two settings in here. They give you the Google and the Apple Store. We're going to start in the back first, all right? This is the most important thing. This right here where it says WLAN, this is where you actually connect your actual router that you got from your provider, which is it could be AT&T, it could be Verizon, it could be your local cable provider or fiber, any kind of source that's coming out. They give you one line. Now, they actually give you 4 ports for other devices. You can plug in cables directly to them, meaning that you can run a cable directly to your TV, to other rooms, other devices, home Synology backups, you can little home servers or desktops. Equipment looks like an alien ship, to be honest with you. They give you 4 antennas. These are replaceable. They do sell antennas for these devices, but in reality, I don't think I see anybody replacing them unless you're yanking them out or breaking them. Or they do have actual built right here rubber ends so they could grab on, but they don't have any to hang this. And that's one thing people like to hang this somewhere high where it could get a good signal. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have it. It's supposed to be a flat base. Check this out. It actually is turning red. It looks like a Terminator objects, like one of those movie Terminator effects where that's all you can see right now. So if you guys can see, all the lighting's coming up. I plugged it in right now. We're gonna plug it into a router to actual internet in a bit, but I just wanted to see the functions. No lightings in the front, but you get them on the side in here, and it tells you right here we have no internet, but we have all the signals. Everything's connected. Right now we have 2 types of signals. Like I said, a 2.5, 2.4, which is 2.4, and then 5 hertz. This is very important that I didn't mention it, and I'm gonna go back and mention it for you guys. There is a button here, if you guys can see it. There is a reset button, and there's a WPS button. Now, if a lot of devices you don't want to set up a print like a password or something, you could just set up an actual function button where it's asking you to push the button from one end to give it authentication. You can do that by hitting this button. It will give it passwords set up and all that stuff remotely without you setting up anything manually. So prior to, you got to get the instructions and just make sure that you are going to http colon slash slash, and we're going to go router, and it's supposed to directly take us in the app right now. And if you can see it, it's actually asking me to create a network right now. We could go advanced settings if you're a little bit more technical savvy on it and you know how to set things up. You can do that, or you could just say create a network, a basic network. It's going to ask you how to plug in things and how to set up your connection. And this is something you have to have in hand. Like I said, you have to have your existing routers. You could set it up. So you could do it manually, or you could go back to your previous connection. So let's go ahead and manual setup. And it says, does your internet connection require a username and password? Yes, it does. We'll do username.
we'll put admin for now. Password was set up test, capital T, test 2022 exclamation mark. Network SSID, you want to save it? It's up to you. I'm not going to save this, but I'll save it for a bit. Nah, never mind. Network, you want to set it up. Test router. No, test ASUS. How's that? ASUS. All right. We'll do that as a test. Wireless security. If you want to set up your password here for your actual wireless setup, you can do that. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up our wireless security. We'll call it test 2022 exclamation mark. I'll use the same one. Right here is the actual question I've been getting the most, is that you could have either one network or two. And people don't understand this part. So if you have devices that are older, you might want to have them at 2.4. If you have newer stuff, it always works at 5. You can combine them where the system automatically finds your system you're supposed to be in it. It kind of pushes your device to do that. But in some of the cases, I see that people have newer equipment and it pushes them to the actually older connection, the broadband. Now, there is a difference on the speeds. And it's going to start rerouting and setting up other network, and pretty much shows you the whole thing that we have in here. Right now, it shows that our internet is disconnected. You could reboot it. You could update. You could do the firmware. And I'm going to go down the list of a couple of things that easy for you to understand, all right? And easy for you to set up. But first of all, the most important thing that you got to know is that you have to come in here and you have to see your device. Under clients, you'll see whatever's connecting related to your actual router. So that's one thing I like to do. Now, this one has a lot of smart features. If you see your right-hand corner, it tells you all these things. You know, the guest account is disabled because we don't have one yet. On the next one is, you see your internet status, WAM, connectivity remote, server now. You know, you can do that if you set up your devices too. The next one would ask you if there's actually something set up in there as a USB. Remember the drive I talked about, the little connection? That's where you actually display. Now, if you guys can see this, this is the name of our network and the status of our wireless. Right now, we do a dual band, which, you know, 2 combined 2.4 with 5 hertz combined to 1 instead of making 2 different devices, 2 different networks, all right? A status, it's just going to pretty much tell you the CPU status of the device, because yes, it's an actual system in there running some software, hardware too. So it's asking you if there's bandwidth issues or anything like that. You come in here and you see that a lot of transfer rates are going to be back and forth. You'll find out here. Of course, they give you all the 4 connections where it says unplug, 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 and then 1 gig. If you see that 1 gig, that's because that's for extremely people that have that fast internet at home that you have over a gig. That's where you actually plug in your actual connection, if you guys notice. And something that a lot of people don't know until you come in here. Now let's continue with the guest network account. This is an important one. On here, I always set this up for any kind of a parties I'm having or anybody, third parties that are coming to your environment and they need access. You don't want to give them your main account. You give them a guest account. This one is very important. I actually use this a lot. So I have kids. I don't want them to be surfing the internet at certain times. This includes their phones, their laptops, their tablets, their everything that goes in here is monitored here. You have to set this up. You set up the tone. You set up the timeline where you want your kids to stop watching or streaming or anything like that. Anybody beyond that, it will not work. It will give them a message saying, hey, you know, you're not allowed, you're blocked or something like that. It's just a message that the system automatically gives them. Now, this is a funny one because this is one of my favorite ones. This is where a lot of devices are capture of how much bandwidth they're actually using. Now, Traffic Analyzer, this is a great report system that gives you pretty much a weekly, daily, however you want to set this up, monthly, it's up to you. A report, how you want to gather the information. This one's for your gamers out there. Unfortunately, a lot of these things don't tend to work like they say they work. So I tend not to even use any of this stuff. I mean, there's one feature that it does have issues with PlayStation 5 that you have to change. You have to actually open some ports. And there's a lot of talk about what to open and what to close, because some of these game systems they use a lot of VoIP for the voice communication. And unfortunately, some of these routers are made to block some of those things. So you have to go in there and unlock them and then set them up. Now, accelerating game priorities, This is funny because it picks up the highest and most important games, and it gives you a little rundown of their idea of what's supposed to be unlocked for them. But it's not universal because every country is different, every city is different, every internet provider is different. I'm going to skip this part because you can actually set up profiles in here, and this is for gaming wise. Now, USB applications, this is where I have a lot of things that I was talking about earlier. You can set up a printer from there, and this one does have the feature to set up your printer from that USB, and you can share the USB. If your printer does not have wireless internet sharing, this is where you actually get that USB, you plug it in there, and it will automatically pick up a lot of stuff, but you have to help it out by setting up your own drivers. It gives you that warning right in the beginning. Cloud services, this is another one that they have. You want to sync up. You could buy service space. You could do all sorts of things. They sell extra features on it. It is up to you. They have more information about it. They give you actual information where to download some of the applications. Now the wireless, this is where all the wireless features get connected and you could block certain things. Now your Lan settings, this is your actual router IP. So anybody that connects to this router is going to start after that 192.168.50.1. So forth and so forth and so forth. On the WAN portion, this is the actual broadband that you're bringing into that connection. And this is what needs to be enabled in a lot of stuff. A lot of times people don't understand this. It's just a plug and play. You don't really have to change anything. Now let's go to the Amazon Alexa. Now this one is where you link up your actual Amazon Alexa into this router. So everything we talked about, reports and all that stuff, and it gives you a couple of things of you could turn on your guest password, your guest account, just by saying, hey, guest network on, and so forth. I mean, there's great features you can do that remotely, but this is pretty much like a hands-free kind of thing once you set something up prior to it. This is more for basic configurations. VPN is very important, so you could enable VPN servers through here, the clients and stuff like that. You could buy your own, or you could buy a third party, or sometimes ASUS sells a third party. They used to be able to promote one. Firewall, this is a really good one. Actually, this is something that a lot of people use. I actually block a lot of IPs from here. I filter URLs. You could actually block URLs, words. You could set up certain words. If you want your kids to go into the porn section, you say block porn. Any kind of words, anything negative you want to put, you could just block it in through here. So administration tools, this is pretty much where you set up the latest firmware. You make sure you come in here and you have the system check it by itself, and it checks pretty much see if it needs a firmware. Let's go to system log. Pretty much what we've been doing, who logged in, who's administrator, and so forth. Everything's in here. Everything gets documented. So if you have somebody intrude into your router, you can see that here. Now let's go to network tools. Network tools is pretty much making sure that your system is talking to other devices. You could ping here. You could set up an automatic ping to make sure there's a connection from here to Google to so forth. And it's a smart connection rules. You could set up rules in here, enable certain things, turn off 5 hertz, minimize the transfer rate. You could do all sorts of things. You could go in depth on this, and it has a lot of great features in here. And of course, you have the reboot, log out, and then if you don't want to do all this funky stuff and you just want to hit the quick start, you can always come back in here and restart the whole thing, redo the administrator password, redo the whole thing. Now, there is a little reset button right behind the router that you could change it back to factory set.